My friends, what we are seeing in Beijing is what I call the funeral of the Axis. Because in the last few hours, two leaders, one room, a handshake that has just cost the future of an entire nation. What the world sees is a gala banquet in the Great Hall of the People. What elite intelligence analysts see is a relentless siege being finalized. President Trump has just sat down across from Xi Jinping. It's the first state visit by an American president to China in almost a decade. But forget the prepared speeches about friendship. The most important thing that came out of this first bilateral session isn't trade, not even Taiwan. Although Xi made it clear that Taiwan is his red line, what really happened was a strategic surrender. The thesis is set and it seems definitive. China has just thrown Iran under the bus. The country that was Tehran's economic lifeline, the biggest oil customer of the Ayatollah's regime, has just signed on to America's red line. China has officially agreed. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and the Strait of Hormuz must be reopened immediately. China is the loan shark that got tired of collecting the debt and decided to turn the debtor over to the police in exchange for tax forgiveness. Before we decode the energy math that forced Xi Jinping to betray his ally, I need to know who here is awake. Do you believe that China really abandoned Iran, or is this just theater to buy time? Write in the comments. Dragons, betrayal, or geopolitical theater? What's your analysis? I'll read each of the comments and respond. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like the video. It takes a lot of work to bring this to you. To understand why Xi Jinping backed down, you need to look at the numbers. Because numbers don't lie and they are overwhelming. China is a dependent organism that imports about 11 million barrels of crude oil per day, my friends. Until a few weeks ago, Iran supplied 1.6 million of those barrels, often disguised in illegal transfers at sea to evade Donald Trump's sanctions. But here's the crux of the problem. China has realized that the cost of keeping Iran alive is becoming prohibitive. Trump didn't go to Beijing to ask for favors, he went to present a bill. And it seems that China decided to pay the bill. Beijing agreed to buy, pay attention, 200 Boeing 737 MAX jets. And what's more, they signed a contract to import 600,000 barrels of American oil per day. In practice, here's what happens. Beijing is swapping sanctioned dirty oil from Iran for clean and safe oil from the United States. We're talking about a flow of $10 billion per month going straight from China to Texas and North Dakota. My friends, why isn't this coming to Brazil? It's the negotiator, the one who has the power, the deterrent force, the aircraft carriers. And the result is that Iran lost its only major market. China has decided it would rather have Boeing jets and American energy than a pariah ally that only brings problems to its trade routes. It's a slow-motion surrender. Iran has just discovered that Beijing's unconditional support had a price, and Trump paid it up front. While the two giants toasted in Beijing, Tehran's response came in the form of a cry of desperation. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard launched a 5-day military exercise called Commander Martyr. My friends, look at the name of this exercise. It's the kind of name created by a military commander who has lost all creativity and has nothing left but the rhetoric of death. It's a show of force that shows the regime has nowhere left to retreat. Iran is making aggressive radio broadcasts in the Strait of Hormuz, trying to show strength while its biggest backer signs agreements with its greatest enemy. Iran thinks it's winning the negotiation, which is a tactical absurdity. They are losing between $450 and $500 million a day after the blockade. They are running out of money and now without political support from China. And where is Russia, you ask me? Well, Russia is losing the war in Ukraine. And here is some information you won't see on Luciano Huck or on Jornal Nacional. China has a reserve buffer of 1.4 billion barrels, which gives them about 4 months of coverage. They have the ability to abandon Iran, but Iran doesn't have the ability to survive without China. What we're seeing in the Strait of Hormuz today is what we call the inverted triangle effect. Pay attention. It's like that guy who only works out his upper body and forgets about his legs. Iran's rhetoric is massive, but its economic base is atrophied. With only one buyer, and that buyer now going to buy from someone else, there's nothing left. They are trying to expand their sovereignty in the sea from 20 miles to 300 miles. We already talked about this in the previous video. They're acting like a dog trying to mark territory in a house that doesn't belong to them anymore. But the reality is that they no longer have a regular navy. They only have a network of proxies and speedboats that the Pentagon has already learned how to hunt. Now, this is where the scenario takes on a mysterious tone. While China pulls away, Iran tries to seek shelter in dangerous places. We previously reported that satellite images from the United States confirmed an Iranian RC-130, an electronic spy plane, stationed at Nurkan Air Base in Pakistan, just 10 kilometers from the capital. Iran is trying to create an intelligence network outside its territory, fearing that the Pentagon's sledgehammer will destroy what is left. But the United States and Israel know this game. They know that the consolidation of power by the Revolutionary Guard under the command of Ahmad Vahidi is a sign that the regime is closing itself off. They are blocking the Iranian president himself and focusing everything on military survival. The concentration of command means that decision-making is quick but fragile. If you cut off the financial oxygen, which is exactly what China just did, the whole strategy collapses. But make no mistake, while the giants toast in Beijing, the rest of the world is on fire. Russia just launched the biggest drone attack of the entire war in Ukraine. 1,560 drones in simultaneous waves hit Ukrainian territory. It was a deliberate message from Putin to the world, launched exactly at the moment when Trump was landing in China. The Russians are testing whether saturation attacks during the day can overwhelm Ukrainian defenses. It's Sun Tzu's art of war being applied. When the enemy changes, you change. And at the very moment when China was surrendering, Putin launched the most powerful nuclear ballistic missile in history, the Satan II. Yes, my friends, with a range of up to 35,000 kilometers, supposedly there is no safe place left on Earth. But it doesn't stop there. In India, the nuclear chessboard also shifted. The country is preparing to test the Agra-6 ballistic missile with a range of 10,000 kilometers and the ability to carry multiple independent nuclear warheads.
E capacidade de carregar múltiplas ogivas nucleares independentes.
This puts India in the elite club of global nuclear powers alongside the United States, Russia, and China. It's a shift in power that the Western media is ignoring, but it changes the balance of forces throughout Asia. And remember that China is not Iran's best friend, and even less so China. And we can't forget about France, which is arriving late to the party, as we said yesterday, but they've brought a strong force that could be an even heavier blow to the Ayatollahs. And then I ask, what does Iran really want with this aggressive stance? It's not a peace agreement. The Revolutionary Guard wants the survival of the regime in a way that maintains its relevance. War creates the conditions for them to keep internal control. They fear peace because in American terms, peace means their obsolescence. But China has just removed Iran's main leverage. Beijing has 3 levers against Tehran. The oil lever, cutting purchases and draining the Revolutionary Guard's cash flow. The diplomatic lever, withdrawing political cover and forcing Iran back to the negotiating table. And the military lever, the possibility of the Chinese Navy escorting its own oil tankers, ignoring the Iranian mafia's fees. If China starts escorting its ships, the rules of the game will be reasserted. Beijing would be telling the world that the Strait of Hormuz doesn't belong to Iran, but to whoever has the power to guarantee the flow of energy. Trump achieved the impossible. He turned China into a reluctant partner in the suffocation of the Iranian regime. So my friends, the verdict is inevitable. What we saw in Beijing wasn't a meeting of friends, but a historic settling of scores. Iran is bleeding $500 million a day. China is watching the countdown to June 8th. And it decided it prefers American oil and Boeing jets over Tehran's ideology of martyrdom. Geopolitics isn't about friendship. It's about who has the most endurance and who controls the system's arteries. And Trump, my friends, is leveraging the US election clock along with the power of the dollar and the technology of American CEOs. Xi Jinping is playing with the survival of a system that depends on oxygen.
Depende de oxigênio.
He doesn't produce. The axis of dictatorships is breaking because in the end, capital always speaks louder than fanaticism. The board has turned, and those who don't understand this new code will just be pawns in someone else's history, and I think Brazil is that pawn. And if you want to continue this discussion in our censorship-free intelligence bunker, the QR code is on the screen, the link is in the description, and in the first pinned comment. There, we are a community of elite analysts who don't accept the mainstream narrative as truth. So come join our community. No censorship, free from the stroke of the pen and the rules of the algorithm. Yes, we have to respect them. We're on rented ground. There are more than 3,000 analysts who help fund the dynamic information we bring here to you on YouTube. And to protect your mind from social engineering and cultural whining, check out our series and movies channel. Yes, my friends, discussions and series recommendations without any culture wars or woke content so you can enjoy with your family on the weekend. By the way, I'd like you to comment here about what you think of a podcast about new TV series and movies. Leave your comment. If you want it, type podcast. My friends, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like the video. It takes a lot of work to make this. Now shield your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira. See you in the next video.